Hey everybody, welcome back to another video, and if you're new, welcome. My name is Zoe, but most people on here and Instagram know me as ZAREPTILES, and today is part 2 of my Reptile Keepers must-haves. So if you missed my last video, that was part 1. I talked about Reptile Keeper must-haves that I think every beginner should have, or people just starting out. Maybe you only have a couple reptiles, so things that were a little more simplistic. Today in part 2 we're going to talk about things I think reptile keepers should have that are a little more advanced, maybe things you don't need in the beginning, but as you grow and progress and start advancing how you keep, you will need. And if you watched my part 1, you know this one has a giveaway. So stay tuned for the last object I'm actually going to be giving away. And this is one that it's like something I have that everybody loves and is obsessed with and always asks me about. So I've been wanting to do this giveaway for literally forever. So I'm so excited that I can finally do it. So we're going to start off with an object I actually meant to talk about in part 1 but totally forgot about. And that is this sprayer. So if you have animals that need to be sprayed down, like crested geckos, or an animal that needs a higher humidity, so you have to do some manual spraying, you will save yourself so much time and energy getting one of these big misters from a hardware store than getting a small mister from a reptile shop. I have to fill this up a lot less than when I had one of the small reptile misters. It does a much better job. It's got this long wand so I can get in a whole bunch of different places. I can adjust how like the stream coming out, which you can't on any mister, but like it's just much more powerful. My reptile mister also leaked after a while, as did the one we had at the nature center, so I think they're just not that good. I've had this thing for years and it still works amazingly, and they're super inexpensive. They're like the same price as a reptile mister but like quadruple the size, so definitely get yourself one of these misters. So I guess since we're talking about misters, I'll pull you guys off of my ring light and we'll walk around the room, because the next things I'm going to talk about are automatic misters. So if you have a lot of animals, sometimes just setting up automatic misters is just so much better for saving you time and energy. So I do have 2 misters. I have a small one and I have a big one. The big one is by far my favorite, but let's go take a look at them. So this mister you guys have probably seen before because it's an Exoterra Monsoon Solo. It drains very quickly, so that's why my big one is my favorite over this one, but this one does work really well. You can turn it on, you can cycle it, so you can set how often it goes off and for how long. So depending on what you set it for, it won't drain too fast, but I have mine set up for my water dragon, so it does drain very fast, which is why it's off right now, because it emptied this morning and I didn't want it to run dry, so I have to refill it and then turn it back on. Okay, this bad boy is the real favorite of the reptile room. This is my 𝘼𝙂 mister. This thing is humongous. It holds like, I don't know, 3 or 4 gallons of water. And then you can set how powerful the stream is coming out, how often it goes off, for how long it goes off. And it comes with so many tubing and spraying pieces, so you can hook it up to a ton of different enclosures. Or you can do what I did for Percy and create like a ring around your enclosure with lots of different misting spots. So I'll show you what it looks like when it goes off. So this was definitely more expensive, but it was so worth it. One of my favorite things in my reptile room. So continuing on, if you have reptiles, you know how important supplementation is, multivitamins, calcium, bee pollen. But the containers they come in aren't really that pretty. So I guess this isn't really a need, but I think it is if you're trying to have like a stylish, pretty, well-organized looking reptile room. Why wouldn't you want your supplements to look nice as well? I plugged my Etsy shop in the last video. I'm going to do it again here, but I'm also going to plug my friend's Etsy shop, so bear with me. So in my shop I do have containers that I label calcium, multivitamin, gecko food, so jars that you can store that in. I also have bee pollen jars, which are one of the favorite items in my shop, I think. And I'm actually going to be restocking them. I left town for a couple days last week or 2 weeks ago and I was able to restock them finally, so I do have to list those in my shop again, get those back up. But I will have bee pollen jars again, so if you want a cute little jar to store your bee pollen in, it says bee pollen on it and it's a little bee on top, super cute. So if you're just looking for storage, I've got that stuff in my shop. If you're looking for cute shakers though, my friend Medusa Official opened her own little shop called Medusa's Little Shop of Fun. She puts a whole bunch of creative stuff in there. You can kind of see, here is her shop's Instagram. Lots of cute stuff, necklaces, propagation stations, you name it. Hanging baskets. So if you look right here, I actually have a hanging plant basket thing, and this actually came from her shop. I love it so much. And she's also very artsy and creative, and she occasionally has shakers that she paints, hand paints, and puts in her shop. So she actually gave these to me for Christmas like 2 years ago. This is multivitamin and calcium, and it's little turtles. Super cute, and they're little shakers. So I just put my supplements in, pop the lid, and give it a shake, shake, shake. Love them. So I highly recommend these. When she has more in her shop, definitely get your hands on some of these if you're looking for shakers. So I guess not really like a general must-have, but for me it is a must-have because I like my things to look cute and creative and like they fit the aesthetic. So you may have noticed she also did them in my colors. One is green, one is blue. If you're like me and you want everything in your reptile room to have like a cute aesthetic, then they are a need for you. So next object, I honestly can't believe there are people that don't use these, and I don't want to say I'm not judging, but I am judging, and that's okay because some of my friends are these people. If you have lots of animals, please get yourself a timer of some sort so you don't have to manually turn on and off your lights every single day. I have 25 animals. I could not imagine having to hand turn on and turn off all of their lights every single day. There are a couple that I do have to because I just haven't set the timers, or I have to get another timer, and actually I have one right here, so I guess I could go do that after this video. But please, please, please get yourself a timer. They have power strips that have built-in timers, so you can plug in multiple things to one timer. They've got these little ones that have 2 sides, they have ones that have 1. Just get yourself a timer to save yourself time and energy. I don't know how there are people that don't use timers. I really don't. But if for some reason you don't know timers are a thing, they are a thing. Go get yourself a timer. So kind of going off of lights, this is an Arcadia T5 Uvb. So I think everyone should be using Arcadia if you need UVB, but I didn't put it in the part 1 because UVB is a little bit of a complicated topic. It's kind of hard to understand, probably one of the most complicated parts of reptile keeping, so I did want to put it in part 2 instead. So if you have an animal that needs UVB, highly recommend you go with Arcadia, more specifically T5s, just because they're T5s, they're great. They put off a ton of UVB, they last a long time. You definitely need one of these. So one of the reasons I really like Arcadia is because they have lots of different options. You can really specialize what UVB you're getting to your animal's needs, and to help you figure out what you need, Arcadia does have a lighting guide. So if you just Google Arcadia lighting guide, you type in your species and it'll tell you what bulb you need based off of the distance your animal is from the bulb. Next thing, maybe a little irrelevant, but I like them, and that is a good comfy pair of shoes to wear around when you're doing animal chores. If you only have 1 or 2 animals, your chores don't take you very long, but if you have a lot like I do, you're working for a while, and it's good to have some comfy shoes. And bonus points if they're reptile print. So yes, these are my reptile print Crocs. I am obsessed with these. I love these. I almost didn't buy them, but I'm so glad I ended up going back and getting them. I know some people are like anti-Croc. Honestly, I was too. And then I got Crocs, and then I never went back, and now I own 3 pairs of Crocs, including this snake print. So yeah, they're just so comfy and so convenient. Like seriously, just get yourself some Crocs. Or honestly, slippers. If any of you follow Liz's Lizards, she has the cutest little dinosaur slippers that she wears around her reptile room, and I'm obsessed with them. Okay, now we're talking about objects that I don't actually have present with me, either because they're downstairs or I honestly just don't know where they went. So the first one is one that I honestly don't know where it went, and that is a humidity gun, I guess you could call it. So in part 1 we talked about my temperature gun. You literally point it at a spot and tells the temperature. Not a lot of people realize they make these for humidity as well, and I have one and I don't know where it went. It's not where it belongs. I'll be sure to put a picture right here of it so you guys can see. Basically, you turn it on, you stick it in the area where you want to read the humidity, and you leave it for like a minute or two, and it reads the humidity, and then you just check the little screen, and it tells you what the humidity is. Mine also tells you the temperature as well, so it's good for like ambient temperatures as opposed to a specific spot. But yeah, so definitely recommend one of those so that you can get accurate reads on your humidity. And just like in part 1, I'll put links for things down below. Okay, the next thing is something that's very good to have on hand just in case you need it. Hopefully you never need it, but if you do, it's good to already have it on hand. Definitely something that I want to put on the more advanced list, so it's in part 2, and that is Preventabite, or some sort of mite prevention, mite treatment, something you already have on hand, because nothing is worse than finding out you have mites and not being prepared for it. So I did battle mites last year about this time. Honestly, I came home from work one day and found out that Snicket, my ball python, was absolutely covered in mites. Don't know where they came from, don't know how he got them. I'm very fortunate, only 2 other animals in my room ended up getting some, and they weren't nearly as bad as Snicket, so they were pretty easy to treat. But it was a very long, horrible process that I never want to have to do again. But fortunately, I had things on hand already to treat mites. I had Preventabite, I had some mite spray, I don't remember what it's called, but I already had the stuff on hand, so it took a lot of stress off. It was very stressful already, but because I already had stuff to treat the mites, it took a lot of stress off. Now, Preventabite you want to use with caution. I've heard you don't want to use it with hog noses. You want to make sure it airs out really, really, really well before you introduce an animal back to the enclosure that has been Preventamited. But I think it works really well. It worked super well for me, so I make sure I always have Preventabite on hand. Now, some people don't really like Preventabite because there are some risks with it. Again, just read the instructions and make sure you're following the instructions and that you're letting it air out really, really well for a while before introducing an animal to an area that has been sprayed with Preventabite. So I always make sure I spray it outside. Don't spray it in the house, don't spray it near my animals. I spray it outside and I let it sit and air out. Alright, next object is for snake keepers and those with lizards that eat greens, or you for some reason have anything that needs to be kept in a fridge. Mini fridge. I have a little mini fridge next to my bed. Blue, it's my color, it matches my aesthetic, I love it, but it has saved me so much time. When I first moved back home in with my parents, I'm upstairs, kitchen is downstairs, and I had to store my lizard greens and salads and whatnot downstairs. So every morning when I went to feed my animals, I'd have to go downstairs, make their salads, bring it all the way back upstairs to feed the animals, and it took so much time, it drove me nuts, because I was coming from my apartment where it was like just me, my animals were in the living room, and my kitchen was right there, so it was so convenient. So going back to living here, I have to go up and down the stairs to feed animals, such a pain in the butt. So my life was changed when I put a mini fridge in my room for animal food. It also is great because now my mom doesn't have to open the fridges and see thawing mice and rats and freak out. Now I thaw all my mice and rats up here in my mini fridge. So they're already up here too, which is very convenient. So I'll see if the one that I have is still on Amazon because it is super cute. I think you can't go wrong with a colorful, cute little fridge. So I will put it in the description below if I can find it. Alright, next is a very expensive item, but if you can afford it, save up for it, get it for Christmas or something, it is like the most amazing object that I think every reptile keeper should have. Unfortunately, it's not super affordable, but I think every reptile keeper needs to have it. It is a game changer. So I'm very fortunate that my boss bought it for us at work, so I can just borrow it and bring it home with me, which is why I actually don't have it today because it is at work. But a solar meter. So what this is a little device, kind of like our humidity gun thing, our temperature gun, but this is like a UVB gun. So what you do with it is you hold it under the UVB light and it tells you how much UVI is being produced. I did a whole video on this testing my UVBs in my room once we got it. So I will link that in the description below so you can see what it looks like, how it works. and just it was absolutely amazing. It can also save you money in the long run because like the Arcadia UVBs, they're advertised good for a year, but I've heard so many people that now have solar meters say that they're good for longer than a year, but you don't want to risk that unless you have some way of checking it. So now that I have a solar meter that I have access to, I can check my UVBs, and that way I know whether or not I have to change them. Like for real, not just guessing based on a year. I can actually check and see how much UVB is still being produced so that I know whether or not I really do need to change them. But it's also helpful because when you're setting up your enclosures, you can see if the spots that you're intending for them to get UVB, they're really getting what they need. So for example, my water dragon enclosure, he has a Arcadia over top, but the spots that I had that were higher for him to climb on to be under it, they weren't quite under it enough for him to get what he needed. So because I had that solar meter that I was able to test it, I could see what I needed to move, where things needed to go for him to be able to get the level of UVB that he needed. So absolutely amazing. I think everyone needs to have one. If you can get one, definitely do. I will link the one we got below in the description. I think everyone needs to have one. Okay, now for the most amazing object. I think I probably would have gone nuts without this. I think if you have naturalistic or bioactive enclosures, you need to have this. Or if you're a plant parent. I've gotten a lot of feedback from plant people saying that they need these as well. And that is a 𝘬𝙪𝙨. You guys have heard me rave about my 𝘬𝙪𝙨 all the time. I even got a second 𝘬𝙪𝙨. I have two now because they're so amazing. So what this does is you plug it in. There's two buttons up top, standard setting, low setting. Low for night, standard for day because it's a little brighter. There's a light that attracts fungus gnats to it, and it's a little fan. It pulls them in, and then you put a little sticky pad down here and they get stuck to it. And then when it's full, you pop it open, pull out the pad, throw it away, put a new pad in, restart. It works amazingly. If I didn't have my 𝘬𝙪𝙨, I probably would be crazy right now. I would have gone nuts because of all of the fungus gnats. I always have fungus gnat problems when I set up enclosures. I know part of the problem is you're supposed to set it up and then you let it establish before introducing the animal. You tend to get fungus gnat booms when you introduce an animal too soon. I am totally guilty of this. I'm the most impatient person in the entire planet. So I always have really bad fungus gnats. But my 𝘬𝙪𝙨s, they solve that problem for me. They take care of it. The 𝘬𝙪𝙨 is like, just, you have to have it. It's the most amazing thing in the entire world. Now the funny thing is, this isn't actually my 𝘬𝙪𝙨. This 𝘬𝙪𝙨 belongs to one of you. So like I said, we're doing a giveaway today for the most amazing object that I have in my reptile room, the thing that I get so much feedback on that everybody wants. So today we're giving away a 𝘬𝙪𝙨. I've been wanting to give away a 𝘬𝙪𝙨 for so long because everyone always asks me about my 𝘬𝙪𝙨. So I am giving away this 𝘬𝙪𝙨. Comes in the box. This is just covering a shipping label. So comes in the box. You've got your plug. You've got your little round pads. Comes with 3 little sticky pads that you put in the bottom. Your instructions. Now yes, the box is already open. So funny story how I got this 𝘬𝙪𝙨. Like I said, I bought a second 𝘬𝙪𝙨. So I bought the 𝘬𝙪𝙨 because I bought them used on Mercari because they were like newly used. They're not really used, but someone owned them, so I was buying them from somebody else instead of on Amazon because it was like half the price. So save money, y'all. So I actually bought one, waited like a week. The seller never responded to me. It said that they shipped it. When I checked the tracking, it kept saying that they were waiting for the item. And I messaged the seller multiple times, like asking for an update, and they never responded to me. So I tried to cancel the order. And so I ordered a different one, which is the one that my second one that I have set up. So I thought, okay, done deal. I got my second one. My first one was canceled. I got my money back. And then all of a sudden, it showed up at my house. So he never messaged me back. So I have an extra 𝘬𝙪𝙨. So we're doing a giveaway. So if you would like to be entered to win this 𝘬𝙪𝙨, be sure to hit that subscribe button and leave me a comment letting me know what kind of animals you have. we'll let this giveaway go on for, let's say, a week. I think week is pretty good. And in 1 week from now, at like 11 a.m. Eastern time, I will randomly select a winner from those of you that entered and let you know. I'll comment on your comment, letting you know that you won and to get in touch with me so we can set up shipping. The giveaway will be US only just because of shipping. So my international friends, I am very, very sorry. I'll do something special for my international friends in the future, but for this giveaway it is going to be US only, continental US only, because of shipping. So yeah, that is our giveaway for today. So again, to enter, hit that subscribe button and let me know in the comments what kind of animals you keep and that you entered, I guess, that you want to win. And as always, thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you for the next video. And remember, you have 1 week to enter.